History is created. SEC approves spot Bitcoin ETFs. This is it. This is why we're here. Why we post. Why we get up in the morning. This is what it all comes down to.
Kaylee, let's try this one more time. What do we know? What's happening?
Well, we know that approval actually has happened this time around. This is approval of 2 necessary filings that were necessary for these products to actually do what they intended to do. One being the 19B4 filings, that is the exchanges that will list these products. The other is the S1s. Many revisions that we've seen in recent days were to those S1 filings that also had to be approved by the SEC. So that is what we know at this point. Of course, this was a highly anticipated decision. Despite the events of yesterday, the confusion around whether or not approval had happened at that point, it turned out it did not, but it is indeed happening now. These spot Bitcoin products for the first time in ETF form being approved here in the US.
BlackRock, Fidelity, Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, Invesco Galaxy, ARK Invest, and 21 shares. These 6 spot Bitcoin ETFs will begin trading from tomorrow.
The SEC just putting out a statement saying that 11 of these have gotten the green light to trade in the U.S. We do expect them to start trading tomorrow based on what some of the exchanges have said earlier in the day. The CBOE said that those spot Bitcoin ETFs will begin trading tomorrow.
SEC Chairman Gary Gensler shared the statement that talks about the risks involved in this. Listen.
I have a statement here from Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC, that he talks about some of the risks involved here. He says, though we're merit neutral, he would note the underlying assets when he talks about Bitcoin are primarily speculative, volatile assets that are also used for illicit activity, including ransomware, money laundering, sanction evasions, and terrorist financing. So he does, in the same breath as approving these Bitcoin ETFs, mention some of the illicit use cases. He says, while we approved the listing and trading of certain spot Bitcoin exchange-traded products and shares today, he says we did not approve or endorse Bitcoin. Investors should remain cautious about the myriad risks associated with Bitcoin products whose value are tied to crypto. But Morgan and John, this is a long-awaited milestone for the asset class, really seen as this legitimizing moment and a way for cryptocurrencies to enter the mainstream investing landscape. You've got the largest asset managers in the world on that list I mentioned of those approved. BlackRock, you've got Fidelity on that list. It is seen as a way to bring some more safety and stability into these markets, and again, a big moment and highly anticipated for this asset class. So as of tomorrow, people will have the option to hold Bitcoin in their brokerage accounts next to your regular old stocks and equities. So big moment here, guys. Back.
So ETFs are finally here. What will happen next? What impact ETFs have on Bitcoin price? CBOE President John Palmer discusses the potential impact of the ETF approval on Bitcoin's price. Listen to this.
Impact on price. For those who've been speculating the past month or 2 or 3 now that this day is going to come, has it moved as much as it's going to move? Is this the day it gets announced, it moves another 20, 30, 40? I mean, what are we talking about here?
It's hard to expect because we have to really see how the capital flows into the ETF. I think obviously an approval is bullish, but we've seen a big move recently. So the best part here is that there's going to be additional investors that get access to Bitcoin that maybe don't really want to natively hold it themselves.
Do you see it becoming something? I mean, I remember we've had people on this broadcast that come on. Kathy Wood says it goes to $500,000 a Bitcoin. We had people years ago come on and say it'd be $1 million a Bitcoin. Do you think that's directionally where this all goes? Do you think that there's sort of a cap on what it is? Do you think every investor in the world decides that they need to have some portion of their assets in Bitcoin?
I think it depends again on how much we see flow in, right? Bitcoin right now market cap is just over 915 billion, right? So even a successful ETF launch in 1 year could be 10 or 15 billion dollars in AUM. That would be quite successful compared to some of, even some of the most successful ETF launches. So even that is, we're only talking 1 or 2% of the current market cap of Bitcoin. So how much is that really going to inflate the price, to the levels you mentioned, 500,000 or a million? Time will tell. But again, we also know there's a fixed supply of Bitcoin. So how that impacts the supply and demand dynamics of the market and how much capital is actually flowing into the ETFs, I think will be very focused.
$500,000 of Bitcoin. It all depends on how much cash flow will be in. Time will tell. Do you agree? Let us know your thoughts in comments section below. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this.